Yeah, what I was kind of going to do was oh yeah, go not there. Go here. Oh, I muted the tab. Why did I mute it? That was what it was. I was like, why isn't this playing? But it was because I freaking muted it somehow, and I don't know how. That's very strange, and why I would mute it. But hang on, I'm just getting music real quick. Just is that an ad? There we go. Get some jams in there. There's a lot more bass to the song than I thought there was. I guess when it's on a 3DS, you don't realize the bass doesn't really kick in. There's a lot of bass to this song. Alright. You probably heard that, but I don't care. See, this will probably just be a day where I just talk about stuff. You know, kind of how last Wednesday was. So yeah, that's probably what this will be. Give me the night version. I'll just throw these in here. And then there's gonna be one more I'm gonna grab. Oh yes, closed captions on the Tomodachi Life OST video. Perfect. It's exactly what I... God dang it. God... I accidentally opened up freaking OBS. That's why I was complaining. And also you probably heard it for a little bit. There's a lot of songs, although most of them are like 5 seconds, so it's actually a lot smaller than what it seems as it is. Okay, and then we'll grab one more. And then we'll probably mix it in a bit. I just wanted to grab these for a little bit. Hang on. I don't know what I want to grab. Let's see here. That's extended. Let's do this. Oh, I can't save this one. All right, hang on. Let me go back. let me go back because it doesn't let me save it. It didn't save the search. That's real nice of you. Thank you for doing that. So let's try this. Boom. All right, I can save this one. Cool. All right. Yay. Why'd I hit that button? That made no sense. I don't know why I just done did that. Alright, so anyway. We got some music now. Some chill one at least. For a little bit. It's gonna be for like 20 minutes. I think. Hang on, let me math. 8, 12, 17, 22. And then it'd be 25, 27, 28. It's half an hour. Wow. Would you look at that? You're just hanging out, having a good time. I probably should have it so I actually have something going on, but I don't. So yeah, these will be great YouTube videos. It's basically a podcast episode, and this will probably be a video, just like as the last thing I was talking about would be. Because I think it's honestly a good idea to talk and upload stuff that's more about myself, since I kind of want people to watch me for who I am and not just the content. At least not a majority or something like that, or even maybe even like a third or something like that. But yeah. Yeah, so I think I was talking about it Wednesday, but I mentioned that I don't like how often how did I word it? I think it was my lack of talking to girls, but then it was my biggest flaw, and then it wasn't that exactly. And I can't remember how I worded it. It's been 2 days and I've just sat around doing nothing, so you think I would remember it. It's all the sugar that's in me. That's definitely what it is. But yeah. I'll just paraphrase it then. And actually probably be more upfront about it. And I mean, I guess I should start off with the fact that I'm 16, so I'm also young. Well, like most content creators I watch now are in their like late 20s, early 30s now at this point. Honestly, entering their mid 30s. Yeah, I'm 16, so I'm basically still going through puberty. So I realized that me having a bunch of sexual urges was it was a side effect of puberty. Which, like, it doesn't feel like that'd be the case, but I guess it is, because I just have a bunch of testosterone flowing through me. So it's basically my body just saying, hey, I want to bang. That's basically what that's saying. So, you know, that's great. But yeah, had a pretty, well, I'd say long conversation about it, but it was actually it was like a beginning of the conversation that lasted 2 hours. And it was one of those where like my mom kept saying like, oh yeah, I gotta really do something, and then I just would bring up a new topic and then they were there. Oh, I'm burping with water. Hang on. And then she'd just be there for another hour. It was one of those. I got that from her family because they do that a bunch. So yeah. We talked about a lot of stuff. That's where I got also the sugar thing. That's where I got that from, was that conversation. Because we talked about like American food. They just basically throw a bunch of stuff in there that really shouldn't be in foods. So yeah, sugar was one of them. Like, we're like the only country that just throws sugar in a bunch of foods. And it helps lead to cancer, so you know, that's great. But yeah. Yeah, the thing is about like it being normal is like I should have taken a note on that, because I literally said I watched Emi Richu, and she had a thing where she did childhood crushes, and a lot of the time she said like older people, and like she would get bullied for that, but then I'm pretty sure it was around when she was like a teenager going through puberty. It's like, I don't know how I didn't put that together. I just didn't. I don't know if it's like my own insecurities or something like that were shining through more. I've also just learned in general I have a hard time putting 2 and 2 together. Also, my whole like, oh yeah, all SA people are mental health victims. Well, not like that, but I said before like, oh, they probably just had mental health problems, and then my mom told me that there's psychopaths and they basically, their brain can't be changed, and there's some people are born like that. So my stance immediately went from that to okay, how can we change the chemical makeup of their brains so they can actually, you know, feel things? That'd be great. Yeah, I think there's a theory going on that's like the trauma. I don't think for ADHD that's how it is, at least, like generational trauma that just was never healed. That's like what causes ADHD. I am curious how like true that is. So like people like with ADHD would maybe like comment below and see if they have like generational trauma. There's a police car going by. I don't know if you heard it, but there's been a lot of sirens. That's like the third siren today. I hope people are okay. It's not great. That's like the third siren I've heard today. And it's like not really in like an hour span. It's been like across like 6 or so hours. I think it's not all that great. Yeah. I forget what I was saying. Yep, I just forget what I'm saying at this point. Great. Good to know. Yeah. I notice also I just say yeah like the end of every conversation a lot. It's kind of my way of just like ending it. Like I want to have more to say, but then I just don't. My mind just goes blank, so it just goes yeah. And that happens to me a lot. It's great. Yeah. Also, since I stream, I've watched a lot of Jaden animation stuff too. Just a bunch of like animation content in general. Like from the animators. It does make me want to draw, that's for sure. Like, thing is, I actually probably could teach myself to draw. It's just, do I have the picture? I might, of like when I was trying to, you know, I'll just show up I wanted my persona to be, because I think I said it basically, and it's just, yeah, it's just Liam. Basically. Did I delete it? Maybe it said download. Oh yeah, it is. Oh shoot, that's in text form. Wait, maybe I can't open it. Oh nope, I can. Oh shoot. Yeah, this is basically what it was. That was my drawing because I was gonna have someone else make it, and yeah, that it's not good. Oh yeah, it's still bracelets. That's what it was. But yeah, it was kind of Liam. I don't know what I'm going to do honestly, because I'm probably gonna use this on my persona, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with Liam. I don't know. Because he'll probably just stay as my main persona. As Persona 5 music plays in the background, fitting. But yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't give shoes, that's right. I didn't in Discord just like do socks or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Because I don't like the one shoes, like the kind of like slipper things. I don't really like those. So yeah. I think what I should do is just come in these streams of like stories I have in myself. Although to be fair, I'm a guy who sits in his room all day, so like I don't know why I put it there. I'm a guy who sits in his room all day, so I don't really have many stories. Like pretty much if I would have any stories, they'd be at school. Since that's like the only place I go. Well, I have to go to a chiropractor, but yeah, there's not really a whole lot. It's just mostly like my personality I basically can talk about. I guess I could talk about that conversation that we went on about. I don't remember what we went on next. It might have just been on how capitalism sucks. Because that seems to be a main topic when we have these long conversations with my mom. Is how capitalism sucks. Or I think my mom at least has a sense that how capitalism is now, it's not great. But I think just in general, capitalism isn't that good. Like, I think money actually, it's not good. If we actually got rid of money as a whole, then I think society would be way better off. I said it before, I said it actually last Wednesday. I talked about this. But that probably won't be made into a video, so I can just throw into this one. Yeah. I might throw the sexual urges thing in the first one, and then this will be its own. Like, that would be an update to it. And then, yeah, I can start talking about this. I feel like in a moneyless society, like, greed as a concept at least would exist way less than it does now. Because it doesn't really make much sense to be greedy. I feel like greed at that point would just be like a thing you joke about, or like, you know, kind of bully each other for, like, jokingly. With like a group of friends, like, that's what greed would come into. Because I think capitalism and money as a whole, like, whether they like it or not, I think it kind of builds greed. Like, if you're a business owner, at least. Because, like, if you get promoted up to that point, then you can't, in a capitalist society, when you're running a business, you can't fully have the expectation of like, okay, I'm actually going to advance forward. You still need that, like, sub reason of, like, trying to make a profit, which means you need to use, like, cheaper materials, or, like, maybe put something out that has, like, one new feature, like a lot of, like, basically the phone companies do, where they give you, like, one new feature and it's like, great, I'm glad to pay another, like, $800 for this, thank you. For one new feature. It's like how my dad said with sports games. It's like, there's no reason to buy the next year one, because basically all it does is have updated rosters. That's basically all they do. And to be fair, when I said that, or when he said it to me, I did want a sports game that actually had a new game mode, but that was kind of besides the point, you know? And also, I think I played that game mode like once and didn't really enjoy it that much. So yeah. But yeah. Yeah, you make like these tiny adjustments. You make poorly made stuff, you know? Oops. Like, stuff just gets poorly made. And it's designed to break after like 5 years. Due to how bad of a quality it is. And yeah. Like, I think also capitalism, like, technologically, we'd actually be a lot more advanced if we were in like a socialist or like moneyless society compared to capitalists. Because sure, there have been a lot of advancements under capitalism, but they were mostly privately researched, I believe, too, and like privately funded. Or no, publicly. It was publicly. I'm stupid. Yeah, no, publicly. So like, yeah, it wasn't even capitalists and like those business owners that really did it. But yeah, like, I think we'd be so much more technologically advanced, since if there was a moneyless society, there would be no reason to make poor quality stuff, because there's no incentive to. Like, there's incentives to keep improving on stuff. And I think also when we have money, and if we didn't have money, we also wouldn't have to like gatekeep our skills and all that under a pay, like a gate, basically a pay gate. Which I get those people just do it so, you know, they can live, basically. But like, I mean, that's kind of how why Patreon exists at this point. It's just like, hey, sub my Patreon so I can live. I don't think it's sub either. Well, it is a subscription, so yeah, I guess it would be sub. I'm just so used to YouTube subscription and the fact that it's free. But like literally any other place has it, so it's not free, so that's what throws me off. But yeah. You know, I might turn it down a little bit. Oops. Because I'm not realizing, usually when like there's like music or whatever going on, you can barely hear me over it. Even though like it says I'm way louder than it, but I just want to make absolute sure. Yeah. Like there just would be no reason to make poor quality things. Or like not to just like push the limits of stuff and use stuff that your previous knowledge to make something better. Like there's no reason to stunt that. Like that's, I feel like you can still have different businesses, because like I'm sure like car dealerships, there's going to be people who have different visions with cars, so there's probably still going to be like different companies, I guess, quote unquote companies, like in like auto, but like they probably would actually work together still and not actively go each other's throats. Or even, you know what, that could still be competition, it's just they don't get money, which I feel like money is kind of based on behaviorism, which is a pretty flawed way of thinking about humans. At least it's like a whole cause and effect basically type of thinking for humans, but we're obviously a lot more complex people or creatures than that. So like I think competition could still work without money being involved, because they would still, you'd still want to make the highest quality thing, because people want to go for the highest quality thing. At that point it'd be pretty obvious, and they'll just push each other to be better or help. Like I feel like it can be competition and collaborative, and both can help in a certain way. So yeah, like I think it's just a lot better if we lived in a moneyless society, because the thing is also, we'd all be on an even playing field. There'd be no reason to do like those petty crimes like shoplifting and all that. There'd be no reason to do that. Like, I mean, maybe it could be a mental health thing at that point then, if they would, if they were to do it. I'm not sure how that works. I know those mostly happen because those people are desperate for the money, which obviously if there is no money, they wouldn't be desperate anymore. Like, yeah, it just makes so much sense for our society, because like whenever I just think of a mindless society, like it would just make us better and more advanced. Oh, I didn't realize this is also there. I thought these were all slow songs. They were not. But yeah, I think we'd be more productive and more technologically advanced basically if we didn't have money involved. And also would have to work less hours because of automation. And also we sit around doing nothing in a lot of jobs. Like we still go in for 8 hours, but I'm pretty sure like in office spaces, like there's just 3 hours where they sit around and do nothing. And it's like, that's such a waste of time. Like, isn't there a whole saying like we have one life to live and we better live it to the fullest? Like, I don't know. Even as a guy who sits in his room, I'd say sitting around an office desk for 3 hours doing absolutely nothing is kind of a waste of time. But it's just because those people want to exploit them as much as they can. Another thing too is also, like in history class, like we talk about labor unions, but what they didn't talk about with us was like the fact that they basically aren't around anymore. And like they never talked about that when we learned about those. So I'm sure a lot of people in my grade actually think labor unions are still around. I mean, they are, but there's just a lot less of them, and also that's why like wages are as bad as they are. I mean, you saw, I don't know if you've seen the UPS thing, but like I think full-time workers get paid like $43 an hour or something like that. Like, it's insane. Worker. Yeah, I'll just do salary. I'll see if it has it updated. It doesn't. Can I say? Oh yeah, an hour. Ooh, that's not updated. As of July 21st. I think that was before the contract. Because I think it was signed like 2 days ago or something like that. So these aren't updated yet, but I think it was like $43 an hour or something like that. Which is like honestly what it should be at. And I think part-time workers get paid like 26 or something like that. Because the thing is also, a third of Americans, like a livable wage is $25 an hour. A third of Americans get paid under 15. So yeah, I'm sure if we still had labor, like a lot more labor unions, then that number would be a lot smaller. And also, I think some of those people who even work that amount are homeless because they can't pay rent. So yeah, it's really not great. It kind of it sucks a lot. Like, I just can't see anybody really defending capitalism at this point. I mean, also Johnson & Johnson keeping like their whole patent, so like a bunch of people in Africa die because of it. Like, because here's the thing, I'm sure these people, there are people there that like actually want to make a difference and like have good intentions. It's just, I think the business owner, no matter what, is just gonna think about only the profit and not about other people. It's the same with world hunger. We could solve world hunger, but I'm sure businesses in America just look at profit. And I'm sure it's not just America that's like not doing their fair share in world hunger, but I'm sure we're like one of the main ones around that. Just because we're thinking about only the profits and not helping other people. And it's very selfish. So yeah. I just kind of hope we get a progressive left-leaning president or something like that. I mean, we just need mainstream left-leaning like politics in general. Nothing is really all that mainstream, I feel like. Because I don't know if I said before, but like there's like Fox News for the conservatives, and like there's Fox News. I mean, CNN became more centrist. I mean, they were just pro-Democrat, I'm pretty sure, so like they weren't that much better. Like, honestly, them being more centrist isn't that, like, it barely will change their news. It's just basically they'll be more critical of both of them, but like in not a good way. And not like a way that'll really solve anything. But you know. Yeah. Why does this one seem so much louder than the other ones? I hate it when like the music is never like the same, you know? It's like not the same like volume. That's what I was looking for. But yeah. Yeah, because also on the whole technological stuff, I was thinking like honestly we probably could have invented stuff that has made our life expectancy longer than what it is now. The highest life expectancy is Monaco, and I believe it's 89.5 years, so almost 90. And I think honestly, if we didn't live in the capitalist society, I mean, it gets Monaco, it's not America we're talking about, but if we had that time to do technology, I think honestly we could have gotten to the point where we have countries that life expectancies are in the hundreds. I think honestly we could probably have it. So I'm just gonna look up life expectancy by years and just yeah. Did I click on it again? Okay, I didn't. Yeah, if you just like look at these. Oh, you can't see my mouse. Hang on. Capture. If you look at like these, especially from 1950 to like 50 years later, or 70 years later, like it's a pretty big jump. So like, yeah, I feel like we could make stuff that for sure could have made the life expectancy over 100. I feel like this music's like not helping my train of thought. It's weird. But yeah, I think we definitely could raise this. Well, and also if, you know, Africa was more developed and we gave her resources to help them develop, I'm sure that's also would raise that a ton. Because I think actually a lot of countries are around this. It's just, or at least a decent amount are. It's just Africa is what mostly lowers this. So yeah, that's the main issue with that. I mean, also America only has like 79. We're 47th in life expectancy, which you would think is like, oh hey, that's not bad. But also that's compared to every country. So like Africa and the Pacific Islands and all that. Like that's compared to all of that. And the Middle East. I forget about those guys. But yeah. We're not talking about developed countries. I mean, to be fair, in developed countries, 47th would be terrible. But, like, I guess I'm saying if all of them were developed. Yeah, no, they obviously aren't. So, yeah. Also, our life expectancy is so bad because we throw sugar and, like, artificial stuff into everything. I already said that before, I'm pretty sure, but I just wanted to bring that up again. Like, it's crazy how much stuff we just throw in. And also how much we'd benefit from, like, a Theodore Roosevelt policy 2.0 thing. I mean, except for, like, the imperialism and maybe xenophobia. I'm not sure if Roosevelt had those, but yeah. But, like, the whole, like, food, like, safety act and then the antitrust acts and all those, like, we could use those again at the very least. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was also talking about how, like, the school system, I think it should change, because this is something I've talked about for a while. I just think grades aren't, they're just not good because they just add a bunch of stress and all that. But, like, it is weird because, well, grades also don't really tell you much. Because, it could be like, oh, you just didn't get enough sleep, or like you didn't eat breakfast or something like that. Like, it's not truly how much you know, typically. Especially when you do a stupid mistake like I did in all my Algebra 1 tests. Like, I literally do, like, all the questions, I think, on those. Except the first test, which should have been the easiest, but I think I had summer brain, so that's probably why. But, like, I think, like, every quiz after that, I knew all the answers. It's just I would always make a stupid mistake. And it's like, I mean, I clearly know all of this. Like, I think honestly it could be how confident you are in it, you know? It's like the whole, like, scale of, like, 0 to 3 or whatever on how confident you feel. Like, that scale. I feel like that tells a lot more. I mean, I think you can still throw them questions, but just don't stress them out about it. Because, yeah, I think you can do the 0 through 3 scale actually pretty effectively. It's just like, maybe you ask, like, people who are 3, you ask them questions about it. 2, you might give them, like, a tiny bit more explanation to see if they'll get it. Up to a 3. And then you can ask them those questions then. And then, like, the 0 and 1s, like, you can just go over it again. Because also, I think school should just be more individual. That's how I think it should be. Well, not in general, actually. I think group projects and working together, because that's how you're going to be in work. But I'm saying, like, more of, like, at what pace you're learning. It's more individual. Although, I guess that would be a little difficult to do. I don't know how you would really go about doing that. But yeah, that's my thought on that. I also think, because we're going to an age, again, I'm 16 and I'm in high school currently. So I think people watching potentially this video may think I probably could get off of the life expectancy thing. But I think people who watch me might not have been in school at the time, or like maybe when phones were just starting to come up, but whenever there's free time, basically everybody's on their phone. I'm not, because again, I'm not really a mobile game person and all that. And also I just feel weird watching YouTube videos, like, while everybody else is around. I think it's a whole, like, me caring about what other people think about me, and I should really stop doing that. Because people accept you for who you are, and I just gotta drill that into my brain. But yeah, I'm basically always on my Chromebook or a laptop. If you don't know what a Chromebook is, it's a laptop. Well, and then I just look around and see like pretty much everybody on their phone. So I think how high school should be is like they should be focused more around everyday stuff and social stuff. Because I feel like in today's day and age, we have the internet, so you can just Google a lot of stuff, basically. Maybe not high school stuff, because there is a process to it. But to be fair, I think you really only use like high school, like I think honestly, with high school math, I'd probably only use it in my life like once or twice. And then I'd be like, oh, cool. Oh no, I didn't know that. That's a shame. Which here's the thing, I literally took it a year ago and still don't remember anything about Algebra 2. So like if Algebra 2 comes up in my life, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what you want from me. but yeah, I also think well, okay, I think the math and sciences, like those high school classes, should be electives, like side classes that you can choose to take. Because I've also noticed that, like, I feel like other than the people who want to be like the engineers, the scientists, like, other than like those guys who want to be in like STEM fields, like, or like who are actually passionate about it, which I feel like is like maybe a third if you're like lucky. I don't know how you're lucky, but I guess I'm being generous is how I should say. Like, I feel like that's generous if I say a third. But like, definitely at least over half of the grade don't care at all about what we're learning in high school, like currently. Now, I think history is important because it's like, I feel like people don't realize how important history can be, because it's kind of a whole like, hey, you know what, slavery is bad, we probably shouldn't do that again, you know? Or like looking at how the Nazis were, we can kind of connect the dots there to how the conservatives are in America. It's great how we basically have fascism in this country. But like I think history is important. History definitely needs some improvements. Like again, I think maybe going a little more in depth, like basically having it be more discussive, other than just be like, this is what happens. Because I think honestly, if you bring it more into a discussion level, history actually would probably be a lot more interesting to people. If you made it like a whole discussion thing. Now I think it's like a whole like, oh, when would I use this? But I think people aren't connecting the dot with history, and like history is kind of just so like you don't repeat something that someone else did, basically, or you repeat something that someone did do that was good. So like if you remember those, then you can continue doing that. Like, so I think that's why history is important. You know, and also makes it so we can actually remember the truth, not whitewash it. That'd be great. Like how MLK was a socialist. That's never brought up. It's just brought up the I Have a Dream speech, and that's it. Then they just go, oh hey, he was assassinated later on, and that's it. Because of old Ronald Reagan. Yeah, that's another thing that got brought up is we were talking about generations and all that. I can't remember when it came up or like what caused it. But Mom even brought up like it's weird that the baby boomer generation's the way they are now, because those are like the hippies and like peace and love and all that. And I think what actually did it was Ronald Reagan. I think his speeches were a lot more like war focused kind of a thing. Because I know he messed around with the freaking Middle East and North Africa a bunch, and also was like super aggressive to the USSR. So like, I think he just brought that attitude onto the US citizens, which wasn't a good attitude. Because I think in the world we live in, where, you know, we can make nukes that blow up our planet and then can destroy humanity, we should be more collaborative and work together and not start another Cold War. Like, because here's the thing, I feel like a lot of people are just gonna be sick of it at this point. Just starting another Cold War, dude. We're just gonna be so sick of it. I know I will be. Like, I just want it so we all work together, since, you know, we're all the same species. I'm sure we can find common ground. Like, I'm sure it's not difficult. But yeah. That's just how I feel about it. I don't even think I finished what I was talking about in schools. What was I even talking about before that brought that up? Was it history? I guess it was. Because I didn't even go into like, because I was like, oh, I think you should keep history, and then I just rambled on. But I think you should keep history and what we're taught. And actually maybe science, because there's a lot of people that are just stupid. And like, at least about climate change, because like, let's just think, here's how you prove climate change is real, right? You just ask someone who's like a little older, and I'd say who mostly lives in like the north. You ask them, hey, how was your childhood like? Like, what was the weather like in your childhood? They'll probably say it was pretty different. So, you know, and also a lot colder. And even I can remember, like, when I was super young, like, we had snow on the ground, and like, I could actually go out and play in the snow, and like, we sledded actually, like on my school, because they had like a big hill, or like a decent sized hill, and like we would sled down that. And it's like, yeah, no, this past winter it only snowed like 6 times or something like that. Like, dude, you cannot tell me that climate change does not exist. Even like 3 or 4 years ago, I remember like there was like a week and we had like a bunch of school days off. because it was like below 30 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. Like, and now I had to wear a winter coat like 5 times and throughout all of winter. Like, that's not normal. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere. Well, even then, that'd be weird. Maybe if you live in Antarctica. Nope, that would be, you'd wear it every day. I don't know. I don't know where you would be. You'd be somewhere, I guess. But yeah. I think you should also teach about climate change then. I mean, also CRT. Even though people, the right, obviously don't understand what that's talking about, which, like most things. So, you know, that makes sense. But yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think in high school you should teach about global warming and Korean history. I'm sure there's some other stuff in there. CRT also. Even though CRT is a college thing, I'm pretty sure. So maybe not that, but I think global warming, also our government. We do get taught it, but I think there should be more in depth, like maybe more than a year. I'm sure that'd get tedious, but hey, it's kind of important. You know how our government works. Oh yeah, another thing is like I just wish this country's a lot more democratic, especially when we call ourselves a shining beacon of democracy. And then we're not that at all. Like, we literally overthrow democratic elections like that. Yep, nice job. And then they'll say we were never a democracy. And I'd say, just ask Woodrow Wilson. He would think we're a democracy. That's for sure. You know. I'm sure they would actually agree with Woodrow Wilson a lot of stuff. Which wasn't good. So yeah. But I think honestly it's just that our country is so scared of like hearing like, oh, communism and like socialism and all that. Like, it's just something that like at this point seems like you should be afraid of for just supporting, but like you really shouldn't. Honestly, you should be more afraid when you're supporting capitalism, because you're honestly I know this sounds a bit extreme, but you are kind of supporting like the downfall of humanity by supporting capitalism. At least how it is, for sure. I feel like even capitalism in general, because it's just not a good system. I think it's time to move on from capitalism at this point. It is weird though when someone's like, oh yeah, you know what, I think the best country that could try socialism is the US since they make the most, but it's like, if we had no money, if we lived in a moneyless society, that wouldn't matter. I guess you technically could still be like rich in resources, is probably what we refer to as rich countries then, is like countries rich in resources. I assume if we didn't have if we had a moneyless society. But yeah, I also still haven't moved on. Okay, climate change history. Maybe a bit more government than we already have in high school. Oh, that just ended abruptly. I was like, wait, what? It just ended abruptly. Yeah. So government, climate change, freaking history, those all should be taught. And then with obviously some improvements to history. And then I think what you should do is just make it so like people in like choir, bands, and like in art, have them be able to like give them the opportunity, like the scientists, like the STEM programs, and like just give them the same amount of treatment. Because those people who are doodling in class and all that, they obviously prefer drawing and all that. They obviously prefer that more than whatever you're teaching them. So you think they're going to use that like in their professional life, or at least want to use that No, they're going to want to like draw for a living. I mean, this is more artists at this point, but like, they're not gaining anything from being in those classes. They would gain a ton more from being like, be given those opportunities. And like, I get there's art classes, but like, I still don't think that's enough. Like, you still need a, or I guess maybe don't force like math and science and all that down their throats if they don't want it, because they're not going to use it. Like, I guess the whole thing is like, oh, you never know if you'll enjoy it. I took advanced chemistry and hated it. So, you know, that's a thing. I mean, to be fair, the beginning of chemistry was fine, and then stoichiometry, that happened, and then yeah, no, that I hated that. Nothing but like stoichiometry for the next 2-3 months, dude. That was terrible. I absolutely hated it. Like, the thing is, stoichiometry isn't difficult. It's just we had to do it for 2 to 3 months straight and had like no breaks in between. Like, it's so funny to me too, because that teacher was like, oh yeah, we can't miss a single day, like we got to keep going, like we can't miss a day. But like, most of the days we just get like 3 or 4 practice worksheets in between learning stuff. So it's like, clearly we could have like took like a day off or something like that, like a break day, if we're assigned like 3 or 4 practice worksheets in between. Like, I don't know. Also, I think English should be way more social than it is. And also, like, I don't understand formal writing. Like, what's the point of it? Like, why does something have to be, like, formally correct? Like, I think there are, like, you do need to write better and all that. Like, more formal. But I don't think, like, to the level that we are at now. It's like, oh, you should put a semicolon here instead of a comma. It's like, I don't care. Like, why is it? It's like, oh, you see, for this case, you need to put a colon, and for this case, you need to put a semicolon. It's like, why does that matter? Like, that's the kind of writing that just annoys me, because it's like, it's such a small thing that, like, why does it need to be different? It's so dumb to me. Like, I don't think semicolons need to exist. You can have something do 2 things, like, I don't know. I just hate it. Like, honestly, when I was writing like essays in like 8th and 9th grade, like that kind of format I was okay with, because, you know, it doesn't have a bunch of stupid stuff in it. But freaking God, when we were writing then, it was like, oh, you should put a semicolon there or something like that. It's like, yeah, no, no, screw you. I hate you. Yeah, I think it should be more on the social side of English, like debates, and like maybe English, I guess, could be the social skills class. Like, I don't know. Because I know in my freshman year, one of the things for the curriculum in English is like, oh yeah, you do these arguments so you can actually like learn how to act in an argument. And which most people don't with how we were, because it was kind of the whole like, you have to say your point and then basically had to wait for their whole point to be finished and you couldn't talk over them. But I'm sure, as people know, how with how debates go, that doesn't happen in an actual debate. So yeah, I mean, I think that is still important. We should talk about that, because I just hate watching debates, dude, especially when like that's the main thing that goes on. Because there's always that one person who just talks over everything that they were debating about. And also then you can't even hear what the person was debating about. And it's just like, God dang it, dude. I just hate debates. I don't like them. Like, I guess debates are good to like, for your ideas to be challenged. But it's just, I don't like debates. because there's like all these weird gotchas. Like it doesn't. What you should be going for is like, oh yeah, we should all gain the knowledge and be educated together, and not just like, oh yeah, I won this. It's like, no. Not everything has to be a competition, especially that. Like that's something that does not need to be a competition at all. So I don't like debates, dude. I'm just not a huge fan of them. Yeah. I just think people in like art should have more of a, they should be given more of a chance. Like, I think classes that everybody should take should apply to everybody and not just a select few people. Because I guarantee you, if I am a content creator, my math classes will not matter. Same with my science. Pretty much any class. They won't matter. And even then, I want to be like a politician. Well, meh. Or a therapist. Which, I guess technically be a therapist is... It's technically science, because you have to learn how the brain works. I can't think of what it's called right now. But... people who study the brain and all that. They might be neuroscientists. Probably, is what it is. Yeah. Like, that stuff just wouldn't apply to me. I think we also just teach more science stuff in high school. Because then I feel like you actually could be like, oh, hey, I kind of find this, kind of neat. But like, it really doesn't pop up. Like, study of the brain. Oh, psychology. I'm a freaking idiot. That's what it is. I'm stupid. It's psychology. Why am I so dumb? Yeah, I think psychology should be one. Actually, I think it is at my school, but also, I think from what I saw was I was just mostly talking about drugs. There's sociology, but like, I feel like, yeah, and that also is, it was kind of, eh. But, yeah. Just more scientific field, just more fields in general. We need like to teach more stuff in high school, because I feel like the whole point of high school is being like, oh hey, this is kind of neat, I think I want to pursue that. But like, there's not a whole lot, at least in my school. It is a small school, but I think all schools should fit under that, where we can be like, oh hey, this is kind of neat, and just have all these options. And obviously you need to pay teachers better, because this would not happen, because we're having a teacher shortage. And I think the biggest way of helping with that is, you know, kind of paying them. But hey, capitalist society, baby. And I'm sure there's no labor unions, so yeah, they ain't getting paid more. Man, capitalism is just so great, isn't it? I like Daniel a lot. Nice thing about this is I don't have to put background music in this. Actually, the verse video I will, because I didn't I didn't do this, but I kind of forgot to, I think, until like the very end. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of could have played music the whole time, and I just didn't. So yeah. Yeah, I think they'll do it for the stream. I actually did pretty good for like an hour. I actually didn't pause that many times. I think it was because, again, I was talking about that one conversation I had with, at least it was my ideas. What my mom said I didn't really mention, except for, there being psychopaths. But yeah, other than that, I didn't really say what she said at all. Actually, you know what, I will say how that conversation ended, like when it was talking about all of that, basically. It ended because I also brought up the fact that my mom wanted to leave, or like keep leaving. I kept going on another topic, and she would just have to sit there. and I said I got that from her family. And hang on, I'm burping. Oh, Jesus. She said that we're a bad influence, and then I said, well, at least it's not drugs. And then she said, well, that's true. And that's how the conversation ended. After talking about all that, you know. I mean, besides, music works way better for me. Like, I don't think there'd be a reason I'd ever do drugs. I do have a very addictive personality. That's also why I definitely want to avoid those two, and like drinking. Because with video games especially, I have a very addictive personality. I'll basically play a video game for like 2 or 3 days and then drop it for a little bit and then find another game to play for 2 or 3 days. I kind of wish I wasn't like that, but that is how I am. So yeah. That's why like sometimes there's just like these random games. I like stream like Clue. I think I streamed like twice within like a week or two. It was because I was addicted to it. That addiction lasted a little bit longer. I think that was like a week-long addiction or something like that. Actually, yeah, because it was when I was sick the second time after the Engage stream. I got re-addicted to Glue. I think it was slightly longer, but yeah. Anyway, I think I'll do it. I stream every Sundays at 1:30. Those will probably be my long game days, because I think I'm changing it now. I don't think... I mean, that will be my playthrough game day if I have a game to play through. Otherwise, it'll just be my long game day. And then I stream every Wednesday and Fridays at 7:30. And I think how I'm going to do is one of those will be a short game day. One of those would be just me talking about stuff. Depends on like if I want to feel like playing a game or if I feel like talking about stuff. Pretty simple. Yeah, I have stuff on my main channel. I think 3 videos are up, and they're still not being recommended to anybody, so... And I think it's because I'm uploading once a week. So I have to upload more often on the main channel. Which, oh boy, that's just the greatest now, isn't it? So yeah. Yeah, I also did the whole, like, I scheduled like 5 videos in advance so I could take my time editing and not burn myself out from it, but it turns out I have to do that anyway. So that was fun to figure out. It's kind of a thing I have to do. So yeah. That's fun. Yeah. So stuff's on the main channel, Uncle Steve Austin, or when I rebrand it'll be the new name. You can see all my past VODs at youtube.com/UncleVods. If you see the VODs, my Twitch and Twitter is Uncle Steve Austin. So I think that's everything. Yeah, I had thought about like making clips of just like completely random things. Like I go on my exercise bike. I say it's my mom's, on her exercise bike, and sometimes I do some really stupid stuff there, so I might... I don't know how it would work though, but maybe try to, to record myself on that and just see if like maybe I could get a few videos out of that. I could just be that one dude who rides his exercise bike. That's what I would be. And just listens to music and gets copyright on all of them, so I'd probably have to make a new channel now I think about it. Pain. Maybe I rebrand Uncle Clips to do that. Because I mean, I don't use it anymore. And also I feel like a Clips channel is kind of pointless. I guess it's good for shorts, but I don't really care. So yeah. As Jamie's theme ends, yeah, I think that's it. So, see ya freaking Sunday then. Goodbye.